In chapter 1, if you recall, we've only looked at the performance of these laptops based upon 5 measures: price, weight, average battery life, RAM, and the hard disk capacity. And we sort of left out other measures, for example, the processor type, and also we would say that you should also look at the customer ratings. Maybe you should look at the number of customer reviews. So now let's suppose we have those information in here, presented here. So the first thing that what we need to do is actually try to put these new measures into either category 1 and category 2. Now remember, in category 1, these are the measures that we prefer a smaller value. For category 2 measures, we prefer a larger value. Now suppose in this case we rank the processors, okay, from 1 to 5. Now in our case, 5 represents the best time. Okay, so if you rank the number 5, that means you got the best process. So because of that, we will say, okay, we are going to use this particular measure, processor rank, as a category 2 measure. And also customer ratings, we say if you get a higher rating, then you will say this laptop is most likely is preferred by most of the customers. So in that sense, we will categorize this customer rating as a category 2 measure also. And we also say the number of customer reviews is to some extent reflects how many people maybe bought the laptop. In that sense, we want a higher number to represent the popularity of a particular laptop, maybe. So in that sense, we categorize this particular measure as a category 2 measure also. So now we have 2 category 1 measures and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 category 2 measures. So we will have to modify our model a little bit. In our case, we obviously we're going to insert 3 more weights or multipliers in there. I usually put 1 as an initial value in these cells, because once the solver solves it and finds a solution, these numbers will be replaced by a set of what we call the optimal solution. So you can use any numbers that you wanted to. So under this weighted category 1, you will type in this formula, which is the sum product of the 2 category 1 measure with the weights, and then the category 2 with the category 2 measures, you have the sum product function. And so this is another example. So you have to set up these in Excel. And again, this cell is for a particular laptop on the evaluation, and then this cell basically takes the value. Again, it's an index function from the weighted category 1 for a particular laptop on the evaluation, and you put it in B23. B24 is the weighted category 2 measure for a particular laptop on the evaluation. Now, since we're looking at the first laptop, so these 2 cells should be equal to the values in the L2 and M2 cells. Now, in the model, we will have to set, just remember the 2 conditions. Set this value, the weighted category 1, equal to 1. You only set this particular value for a laptop on the evaluation to 1, and you leave all the other laptops unchanged in terms of the value on the weighted category 1. And your objective and try to maximize the weighted category 2. By doing that, you will actually maximize the ratio of weighted category 2 over weighted category 1. Next, we are going to build a model. So you go to the Data tab, you click on Solver, and then bring up this Solver parameters dialog box. Since I have already entered the model in there, and you see this is basically the model. So this is the objective cell, which is the weighted category 2 cell, and then the changing cells are basically the green and yellow cells. And these are the two conditions. So the first condition is that you set weight to the category 1 to 1, and then all the ratios has to be less than or equal to 1. This is the same as saying that the weight to the category 2 value is less than or equal to the weight to the category 1 value for each laptop. So once you have that, you click Solve, and you have the solution for the first laptop. Okay, so you see that the ratio is about 96%. So this indicates that this particular laptop, the first one, is not a best practice. To repeat the process for the remaining 6 laptops, you can use the VBA to accomplish that. You click the Developer tab and bring up the Visual Basic. Now, if this is the same Excel file that you used before, you've already has a module with this code, and the reference to solve it is already there. If you start off with a brand new Excel file, then you will have to insert the references to solver again. Okay. So in this case, because I am going to put the ratio in the column O, and this VBA code puts the results in the column L. So what I did is basically I can copy and paste this code over here and give it a different name. I call it DEA2, and then the key is in this line. It says I'm going to record my maximum ratio in column O. Once I have that, I will just go to the micros, and I select this micro and hit run. And here is my result for each ratio in there. If you compare this result with the previous one that only has 5 measures, you can say you have more laptops with a ratio of 1. So this one conclusion that you can get is that the more performance metrics you added into this particular evaluation problem, the more best practice units or best practice laptops you will get. You may have a situation that there are many performance metrics you can choose and sort of categorize them into category 1 and category 2. So the question is how many of them I should be using them as a category 1 or category 2. For example, in this particular laptop example, you can build another model. In this case, you still have the price and weight as the 2 category 1 measure, but you will have the ranking of the processor and the customer reading as the additional category 2 measures. In this case, when you compare this model 3 with model 2, you remove the number of customer reviews. So maybe you think that the number of customer reviews is not that important. Once you exclude a measure or add a measure, you may need to adjust the model, the formulas a little bit. Also, sometimes you also need to adjust the solver parameter in there. So this is another model, and then here I have a model 4. This model 4, as you can see, does not have the processor ranks in there. Okay. So that's a different model, and you get, when you run the micro, you get a set of different scores, and then you will sort of run another model by looking at the process rank along with the average battery life, RAM, and HDD. Again, you can build different models by using different combinations of category 1 and category 2 measures, but you will have to figure out, why are you doing this? What is your objective? What do you want to measure? And once you have that, you can actually compare all the ratios that you calculate, across different models, and hopefully you can try to figure out what is going on with these laptops, for example. So I would strongly recommend you to perform an exercise like that.